complaint in short to the government. The government saw through the complaint and accepted that they were going to form a cross-party commission, if you will like, in Parliament. In other words, all sides of the aisle within the wells of Parliament will form a commission that will launch an inquiry to post-elections violence, to put a stop to it, find out, first of all, why it is happening, who are the victims, how best they can deal with the victims, and then trying to find a solution to stop it altogether. But unfortunately, the post-election violence has continued. The good faith in which the government of the SLPP accepted what was proposed by the All People's Congress was later on reneged upon. Why? We are yet to hear from the party. But what we know, that cross-party commission that was meant to be formed is no longer the case, and people are still suffering from post-elections violence within the party. Ladies and gentlemen, this is critical that these issues must be addressed, and the APC has continued to complain to the ruling government. One of the other things that is worth bringing to light, ladies and gentlemen, is the All People's Congress. Remember some time ago that when the parliament came into being, there was some confusion anyway. We must note in our minds that in a physical sense, the All People's Congress has got a majority of members in parliament as opposed to the other parties. So the APC has got majority of members in the parliament. It is simple mathematics. It's not rocket science that when it is broken down into numbers in terms of votes or voting within the wells of parliament, it's going to be about numbers, cross-party politics, speaking to each other to try to arrive at sections, or deliberations that they will eventually agree upon, how to go forward, how to take the nation forward, how to make the nationals be of some kind of benefit to some of the discussions or all of the discussions that they are having in the well of parliament. But to begin with, this is serious because this is where we begin to make the mistakes, and then going forward, it's never forgiven, and it becomes a vicious cycle, which are many. We've been practicing this kind of politics from the incept of independence, and it has only gotten worse. And hopefully we can find the solutions to these kind of problems to avert these things happening, because every time there's a change of government, it doesn't augur well for both the populace and our foreign friends. And in fact, this is how they judge us, okay? In as much as we try to make advancements, we try to nurture our fleshly democracy to attract foreign investment and enterprises. It doesn't work. And some of the reasons why is because of stability. If there are going to be post-election violence every time that there's an election cycle, that puts off potential investors, and all the people eventually that come to invest in your countries are nothing but criminals, are nothing but half-hearted people who have come into the country to exploit you. It is in the same vein that the All People's Congress has been complaining to the government of the SLPP. The SLPP is on the smoking end of the stick, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you'll understand this. And I say this because, again, every time we have our conversations, our deliberations on political platforms, be it WhatsApp, be it Twitter, be it LinkedIn, be it Tumblr, whichever ones we are dominant on or tend to exchange our views on, it becomes politically toxic, divisive, polarizing, and is deliberate on the part of some people. I can't say everybody. Why do I say this? Because when somebody is trying to project an argument based on a platform of national unity, there are people, some people, who tend to turn the argument upside down on its feet, make it appear as if it's partisan, and like to make comparable analysis, which on most occasions, as I've witnessed, is not necessary, because the argument is not about then, but rather now. When it becomes about then of course you are free and you can make a comparable analysis. But we can't be talking about things now, and then so much is what we are talking about that you want to make reference to yesterday, and it's not applicable to today or within the context in which it's been spoken. You're disturbing the argument. That's why we don't make progress. That is why exactly we don't make progress. We ask now what is going on, and then somebody will easily say, why didn't you ask the question yesterday? Yesterday implying when the All People's Congress was in power. But you fail to realize that when they were in power, there were people, not everybody, there were people who asked questions because they did not like the direction in which the party then was going, in which the government then was going. So there were people out of 7 million plus that asked those questions. So those same questions are being asked today of the present government, and some people don't like it. So they tend to turn the argument or make the argument lopsided. And this is unfair by every account. We should have a national conversation. Only when we disagree can we agree. But when we disagree, it must be on a relevant and academic intellectual basis, not on a partisan basis that you would defend to the extreme, something which is extremely not right. A typical example will be the post-election violence. Okay? The government might not be responsible, but people might be doing it in their name. But they are the ones in power, in authority that can stop this. They have got the mechanisms, the tools of government, the tools of the state, the police, i.e. the army, to take care of these issues. It hasn't gotten out of hand yet, but the police surely can take care of it. And this is what links us into our next argument, which is, ladies and gentlemen, are we beginning to see the hallmarks, the beginning of a police state? Therefore, what is a police state? A police state is where the citizens are not allowed to exercise their rights by the powers that be. So in stopping you from exercising that right, that franchise of yours, that God-given franchise, and as provided by the Constitution, which is your right, they use the mechanisms, they use the instrument of state in this civilian way. They call on the police. So the police, instead of them providing, not all of them, ladies and gentlemen, but normally instead of them providing safety, providing you with your rights, they tend to come in and abuse those very rights. This is not new. This has been ongoing for ages. Many decades ago, we found that the institution of state, i.e. the police, which was meant to be relatively free from politicization, from cronyism, nepotism, from kleptocracy, became gullible, became an instrument of the state. When the Director General then, or the IG as it was called or still called, found himself in Parliament. So fast forwarding it to 2018, while the IG is not in Parliament, we see that the police is being compromised. And this is exactly what we are talking about, as citizens cannot express their opinion, cannot express a disagreement with the authority now. You will be picked up. Things that we saw back in the 70s and 80s. It's unbelievable that 2018, we will be seeing such things. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very serious what is going on, and should claim the very attention of every one of us. It should claim the very attention of every one of us. Recently, the chairperson or the commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission was dismissed. Now, was that dismissal, was it fair? Was it legal? Was it legitimate? The question is going to you, and you will have to provide the answers. You need to do your research. We need to hold our governments accountable, be it green, be it red, be it blue, be it purple, whatever. We are talking about the mechanisms of state. When they become compromised, that's why our institutions are never strong. That's why I started this program by saying, I want to be the carrier of a social message in which our people, the entire populace, are the benefactors. This is my intention. I want to be part of, or the carrier of the yin and the yang, which is the dualities of life. If you got X, you should have Y. There should be a balance. So the commissioner was dismissed. The question is, was he dismissed legitimately? This is why there is always a vicious cycle, because eventually somebody else will come, because nothing really lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. The only change is change in itself. Everything else is subjected to go through some kind of changes. Everything that goes up must come down. These are scientific laws, rules that we know. And it is applicable in the social sense. Ladies and gentlemen, the question here today was the commissioner of anti-corruption, was his dismissal warranted? Of course, the party that dismissed him would say, yes, it was warranted. So we ask you the question, was it legitimate? Because there are rules pertaining to that position. It's not just a position that exists, there are rules. Just like most positions, we know some are at the pleasure, they serve at the pleasure of the president, but some positions are constitutionally mandated. Some positions are required by virtue of the parliament of the country to vote upon. Sometimes it needs a 2/3 majority for some action to be effected. And I think the corruption commissioner position is one of those. Just like the governor of the bank. You don't just hire the governor of the bank and fire him at will. No. So what was the motive behind this firing, ladies and gentlemen? What was it? I will leave this to you, because that's what we need to do. Sometimes you need to have someone that provides the questions or asks the questions, because some things we don't think of it as such. We talk about post-election violence. Of course, some people don't see it, that is happening. Some people just don't see it. Some people are so partisan that their judgment becomes clouded. You should not be asking it. Some people become colorblind because of affiliation. Some people are just on a nationalistic level, so they keep asking the questions because they require answers. And it's significant because going forward, these are things that comes to haunt us, that comes to affect us. That's why almost 60 years of independence, we still continue to struggle to find a national direction other than pronunciations and pronouncements, proposals and projects. We continue to take debts from people who has no interest in us other than to keep us in a state of comatose, political comatose, if you like. Other than to keep us in a position where we will continue to be exploited, if you like. And this is the same situation that we find ourselves. So ask yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, do the research. Look for documents pertaining to this very nature of the thing that I'm speaking of. Was the dismissal of the commissioner of anti-corruption, was it legitimate? Was it legal? Let's come back with the answers next week, because there are many things to talk about just to cover the 1 hour mark. Okay? Another thing of major significance, ladies and gentlemen, is the way the government of the Sierra Leone People's Party under His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, has gone about dismissing, criminalizing, categorizing, caricaturing former leaders of the government. The position that he occupies today was once upon a time occupied by someone else, and his government's position that they occupy today was once upon a time occupied by others. But instead of applying the procedure, ladies and gentlemen, There has been a procedural impropriety in this case by many respects, and we make the argument, and then let's see what you as the people have got to say. Every government official that left power the last time when the APC was in power has still got their constitutional right, just like any citizen. We go on the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. These people have never attended a court of justice anywhere in the country. They stand accused, and I'm not sure whether it is formal as yet. But there's been no trial, no convictions. But yet these people have been treated as criminals. And yet some of us don't see it. And this is what I want to highlight here. There is a procedure, there's a protocol. People of the past, like those that possessed diplomatic passports, are cordially asked, as any civilized government, any civilized nation will do, to surrender these passports if the current government sees it fit, deem it fit, that they no longer enjoy the privileges accorded them by being carriers of diplomatic passports. It's a requirement, it's a request. So instead of them turning over these passports to the respective ministry responsible where it was issued in the first place, which by all implication will mean the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, these people are being asked to tender in these passports to the CID. Now, what is the CID? The CID is the Criminal Investigation Department of the National Police of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And then you have to ask yourself, why would they be asking these people at this point in time? In as much as me and you know, there has been no convictions. You know, these people still stand, you know, as civilians, but they are being asked to tender in their passports to the Criminal Investigations Department. Why? That in itself is an implication of criminal attempt to criminalize these people. And I don't see why. So it's again the onus of the government of the day to please provide us with this information, because we as citizens of the Republic are tired of seeing things moving the wrong way, both then and now. And if this government should say that they stand for probity, integrity, and they want to lift up, you know, the people of the country from the morass that they find themselves in, then they have to remain accountable. They have to provide answers to questions that we seek answers for. We can't continue to be left in oblivion. We don't know what's going on most of the time, and we are left to waggle in our own mess. We create the narrative, we hear the this and the that, we hear this person say this, and then you left us no more for maybe the same propaganda. Let them go about it, let them talk their rubbish. But some of these are well founded. Why would you ask former government officials to go and tender in their passports to the CID? Why? This has been very unfair on the part of these people. That's criminalizing them long before they have been given their day in court. And I think action should be taken, Mr. President, to move away from this direction that it is going. I have said here time and time and again, and I say it again, that the reason why I sit here, the reason why I speak, the reason why I take my time and probably, putting myself in this way, because I tend to understand the nature, the psychology of our people, a little bit of our politics, and where I find myself. Others will know that what I say is fair game. It's a fair shake. And even the president will know this. Sometimes when you speak truth, people feel very inconvenient, but it's just the truth. And because we as human beings, we all have God conscience, when we revert back into our comfort mode, if you will like, we tend to reverse our thinking and try to process the thoughts that we've had and make sense out of it. And this is where things like this become really serious. I just want to acknowledge quickly some more people that have joined the forum. Mr. Ali Mans, my man BBK, Mary Kappa, Mr. Ali Mans, Julia Rogers, Rosalind Bangura, Donald Legrand, Elena Williams, Jared, David Lands,